This dude's
Shake
the
it.
Alex Jones of fucking CG.
Salutations from the Six Side. This is Six Scale Combat, and we are cooking with napalm. That's right. We changed the name because some douchebags they took the tinfoil thing. Actually, there's a lot of tinfoil stuff going on. I thought this was a little bit more appropriate for the channel in correlation with the comic. So currently we're gonna have this name, and then I have to change all the titles and change some of the thumbnails. That's because of YouTube's new rules. A lot of stuff was sort of toy orientated, and I don't want to get kicked off YouTube because of their new cockamamie rules. So that said, I have two excellent guests, Mr. Lee Steward of Fanatic Comics, and my boy Grahovac here. So say hi, guys.
Hello.
How y'all? How y'all doing? I can't compete with this guy. Come on.
Well, actually, Mr. Stewart is here because of my recent troubles with publishers, and somebody made the joke that my publishers are like the drummer from Spinal Tap.
Just like that. It just went up. It just was like a flash of green light, and that was it.
Poof! Another publisher gone. No, but all seriousness, Lee contacted me a couple of weeks ago, and I guess we have some news, Lee, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Do you want to share the news?
Sure. Fanatic Comics will be publishing and distributing Napalm Brothers, and I love this. I love the book when it first come out. I'm excited to do this. You guys will not be flying under our flag. You're going to be flying under your own, but we are very excited to help you get this book out.
Well, actually, I was wondering because you did buy the first book. So what sort of made you decide that you want to get involved with the Napalm Brothers? Because I don't think that's actually something we talked about at length, so to speak. So what made you decide that the Napalm Brothers was your cup of tea?
Well, okay, so I know you guys are, I know there's going to be people out there going, oh, really? But I like Tango and Cash, and I like, I like, Big Trouble in Little China, and I like movies like that where you've got the dipshit cop or the dipshit good guy and the serious good guy. I like that, and that's what Napalm Brothers is. And it's a lot of fun. It's an old shoot 'em up. It reminds me of the Blues Brothers, but Vietnam oriented. It's awesome. I love it. It's
well, I can't lie.
Allies art.
I can't lie. Of course, old movies and old sitcoms they are a big factor in sort of the creation of the Napalm Brothers. I do tend to sort of incorporate those sorts of structures into the comic. So for you to say that, that's actually quite a big compliment. What do you say, Grovek? I know you're a big old movie and a blaxploitation sort of fanatic. Do you see a correlation between the Napalm Brothers and these old movies as mentioned?
Well, more to the 70s side of the exploitation era. Blues Brothers, shit, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but it can be seen like that.
Yeah, Blues Brothers is great flick. I recently, I've got a copy, and every now and again I sort of dust it off, and it's just amazing. It's amazing that they did that stuff in the 70s. I mean, you couldn't really do that now. The whole social climate is so much more different that it just wouldn't work because it's a little bit quirky. It's a little bit. I don't know. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And
it makes fun of everybody, every ethnicity. I mean, there's there's jokes of Catholicism, there's jokes of blacks, there's jokes of whites, there's jokes of Jews. I mean, it hits everybody.
Exactly.
And,
Well,
it's shameless how it does it. I love it. It's a great flick.
well, I think that's one thing that's very good. With the current situation, when all our entertainment has become so mediocre, is that it forces people like me and like you guys probably to sort of do your own thing, and sort of fill that gap of missing entertainment because everything is such a drag these days. Everything's so propagandized, so politicized, and I mean, I don't mind if a certain creator is political or if he's an activist, but when you start combining it in your work, the fun factor sort of diminishes. I was just talking to Grovak about this before the stream, about that whole Winter Soldier thing on Disney streaming, that they did some sort of BLM bit against the cops, and a lot of people just unsubscribed from Disney Plus. I can understand it because people are getting tired of it. First of all, you have all these rehashes, you have all these reboots and remakes of movies that were done, that were good as they were, given the time frame. You know what I mean? And we just don't need all of this stuff. What do you guys think about that?
Listen, I'm not all that interested in the new Marvel stuff because I tried watching WandaVision and it did not gel with me, even though I like the whole 50s sitcom aesthetic.
The aesthetic, yeah, it looks. I must say,
Yeah, the
I
aesthetic.
haven't watched any episodes.
Yeah,
I like
and
the actress who plays Wanda, but
yeah, she's good. But
Yeah,
the
she's
problem is, I hate when they use period pieces as an excuse.
for a
Because
certain
when I
agenda.
watch it, okay, they have all the set design right, they have all the quirks
Yeah.
there, but somehow it feels tacked on, lazy.
Well, I think that's because most things, and I don't know, maybe Lee has some input about this, but my feeling is that a lot of IPs these days are being written by committee and sort of by focus group. So they're not really looking at traditional storytelling. They're just looking at, okay, what are these key topics that we can cram in there, and sort of the story. No, the story gets bent to fit whatever hot topic they want to throw in there. What do you guys think about that?
Well, going back to something that our boy Hovik said here, I'm gonna ride you on that name forever now.
Mac, Big Daddy Mac Rovac.
Yeah. So
No, Big Daddy Mac.
Big Daddy Mac. I'm never calling you that. I'm sorry. Look at him. He looks like 90 pounds soaking wet.
No, he's a powerhouse, man. He can piano wire you in his sleep.
Okay. So anyway, getting back to what you were saying about WandaVision, about the whole aesthetic, about the sitcom, I liked it, but I think it was too cerebral for many of the watchers. They weren't getting it. They didn't explain until way further down the line that this is just her trying to figure out how to cope with the death of Vision. And so the first 6 episodes, it really had people scratching their head going, all right, when are we going to get the reveal? And it came further down the line, and I think it really threw fans off because they're like, I don't get it. And then when they revealed it, it was like already too late because fans were kind of like going, it doesn't matter. And they were well past it.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually I managed somehow to watch episode 1. Then I quit after the first 5 minutes of episode 2. Then someone said start with episode 4. Then I watched episode 4 and it was somewhat solid. But after episode 4, fuck this shit. I'm not watching it. You know, it's just I'm like, why would you set the first 3 episodes in the so-called sitcom world? And the biggest sin is in the first episode, Wanda is doing this, and that's I hate when you play your trump card really early.
Yeah, so they already get to the punchline before the actual story starts, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't. Well, thanks for spoiling it, Grovak.
I don't give a shit. You're not giving Disney your money anyway. So.
Well, there's one sort of aesthetic observation I made because at one point I think Vision is wearing sort of a Halloween costume of his original Marvel suit or something.
Yes.
And I think it looks really good for a comic book, but in real life it looks really ridiculous. But then again, when you take the movie costumes look better on, let's say, live actors, but they look worse, I think, in comics because they're all sort of bland, tactical plates and all that sort of stuff. What do you guys think about that? That comics really have their own language, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically so, because you can take something from a live action adaptation and put it into the comic, the source material, if you will.
Well, the key is the writing.
Two different.
The writing stays true
Yeah.
to the source material, then you've got a winner. I mean, there's plenty of IPs in the past that have really made successful movies based on good storytelling. But yeah, that's the key, I think. So yeah. Anyway, Lee, I wanted to ask you, what are our plans? What can you tell us about what we're going to do with Napalm now that we announced that we're going to be working together?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to launch a Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaign simultaneously. We're going to launch.
So that's for
Napalm
book
Brothers.
3. For book 3, I mean, just to be specific.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. This will be for book 3. You will also, if you and I are still under the same understanding, we are going to launch issues 1 and 2 along with the campaign, and they will sport a new cover signifying these are now being distributed with us.
Yeah, and I want to say something about that because everybody who knows me online knows I really have something against the variant covers. Like I break out in a rash when somebody mentions variant covers. But since these books have already been released by 2 different publishers, I figured I had to do something to add something to new buyers, and also to respect the older buyers because, the older covers, they won't be re-released again, And just to briefly address the whole JDA thing, I was sort of against the books being sold on Amazon. You know what I mean? I think it's sort of diminished, not necessarily the monetary value, because I understand the books are not that, of that skill being sold that would diminish. But still, I think it's a good thing that they are not being sold on Amazon anymore. So I appreciate everybody who bought the previous books. And now for the reprints, we're just going to do something cool with the covers. I want to try to get some artists involved that were already involved with Napalm, like Tony Sizzle. I already asked him if he wants to do some work. I asked another artist that I won't reveal just yet. Somebody who's in our Twitter group. And I think they're going to be a really cool coverage. I mean, I'm really stoked, sort of, to see what's going to happen with that. And on that note, I also hope to reveal the cover of Napalm 3 within, let's say, the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm still sort of working on a small project for Chemo, the Lee Byron, for the company man. I promised him I do sort of an homage print of one of the characters, so I'm working on that. And as you guys know, I work full time, so I kind of have to juggle everything a little bit between my regular duties. But after that, I'm really gonna buckle down and do a lot of Napalm work. And future is bright. I'm really stoked. When Lee contacted me, of course, I did a little research. Who is this man? Who is this crazy person? And I completely forgot to mention that, of course, he's the publisher of the Offworlder comic by Mike Barron and Jordi Armengol. And yeah, man, that looks great. That's just right up my alley. I really like that sort of genre. I like the slaying comics. And I think we actually have a backer here of the Offworlder campaign, Grovik. Didn't you back that book, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, I backed it.
So what was your appeal of the Offworlder? The Offworlder.
Well, like I posted on Twitter, it's for now it's a solid introduction to the world. The downside is that Armengol's art is somewhat jarring. It pulls you out of the story a bit.
Well, that was what was your initial appeal to that made you
initial appeal?
Yeah,
I like the concept a lot. 7th century AD, Celtics, Arabs, aliens.
It's great.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything in there, and that's the thing with Mike Barron. Mike, if you've ever read any of his Nexus or Badger stuff, Mike will pull some of the craziest concepts. I mean, he had Bruce Lee in Badger, and who would have thought to do that? I mean,
he's a great
Nexus,
writer.
but he had some crazy stuff happening in Nexus as well. I mean, he just goes crazy with these ideas and then just runs with it. And the whole time you're going, what the hell is this? What is this? And then you're like, oh, this is cool. This is cool.
And isn't, that's just on a side note, isn't Barron also involved with Florida Man?
Yeah, that was his novel, which, man, if you haven't read the novel, I seriously recommend it. You will laugh out loud if you read it. I can't tell you how many times I have a busy schedule myself, so for me, reading novels is really difficult.
Yeah.
I listen to them mostly at work, but I've been trying to read this book, and every time I get going, it's like I go, oh yeah, I need to go back a few pages, and I start over, and it's just I laugh every so many pages because there's something stupidly funny happening to this guy.
So hold on. So just to get, he wrote the novel first, and then there's now a comic book adaptation of the novel or something.
Yes, there's a graphic
novel. Is he also involved with the comic book?
No, that's through Chris Braley. I think it is.
Well, spiritually connected, and like from a fourth degree, I am now also sort of spiritually connected to Florida Man, which is perfect because when I first saw Florida Man come across the Twitter pages, I thought, yeah, well, that is a great project. That is something I could really get into, yeah. And I'm sort of under sort of sideways under the umbrella of affiliated with the Florida Man, and the Napalm Brothers of Florida Man is pretty cool. Those are the kinds of IPs that this world needs, That's the kind of stuff that really will make your life a better life. That's what I think.
We all need to laugh and have some fun and mock at ourselves. Florida Man takes, Florida Man's based on the concept, you ever see the articles in the newspaper, Florida Man went for a bike ride and was bit by an alligator or something crazy like that.
I've shared my fair share of memes, of Florida Man memes.
Yeah.
I think, we are all part Florida Man, really, especially in this comic book community, because we're all batshit crazy. Well, talking for myself, I know Grovak is a little bit crazy, but Florida Man is something we could all aspire to.
Oh yeah, and it's a great book. Like I say, it's hilarious as hell.
But going back to Offworlder, have you guys ever read the older 2000 AD Slain comics? They were in black and white.
No, I've not read those.
No.
Well, to me, because it's really, Slain is set sort of a couple of centuries before the whole Offworlder thing. But I think, it really, I do see a parallel, you know what I mean? It really goes all over the place. It has all these fantasy elements. But it's, the visuals are sort of set in historical accuracy, the Celtic stuff is really, really gnarly. And it's just really cool stuff. So off-world. I mean, it's really something everybody should be looking. And aren't you shipping actually now, Lee? Are you shipping the books currently?
Everything has shipped except for the CGC books. We're still waiting on one more package from CGC before we can ship those out.
Okay.
And right now, CGC is behind on everything. It doesn't matter what you buy or do with them; they are just slow as turtles right now, and I don't know why. But so once we have, what we're doing is, I'm OCD as hell about shipping. That has been my bread and butter for the last 30 plus years.
Yeah, your background's been sort of
Yeah. So it's my bread and butter. It's my day job. And so for me, I'm very OCD about it, and I want everything to be done right. And I wanted a specific bag. It's called a signature bag, and I wanted this bag for those CGCs. So this way, that book will never get touched except for opening the flap and the signature getting put in it. This way, you will get the highest rating possible on this book.
Well, I mean, that's one of the founding pillars of which, let's say, our side of the indie comic world is based on. And that's quality shipping on time, Get the books done, get them out, and no problem. So to me, that's a huge thing. That's really an important thing. And I certainly don't want to downplay the whole publishing and shipping side of things, because to me, really, it is 17% of getting these books out there, physical books, you know what I mean? Unless you go all digital, which I think digital is a good thing. I'm for PDFs and all that, but there's nothing like that fresh comic book smell when you open a plastic. If you're a real fan, you really read them. You don't keep them in the plastic, so you have to open the plastic and actually read the books. There's just nothing like that. That's something that really gets my blood going still. And I know you are a fan. Excuse me, sorry, I didn't catch that last bit.
I said you at least have to read it once.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, never mind the grading afterwards. You have to read these books. That's what they're for. And historically, that's they were a throwaway product. You bought at the grocery store comic books, took them on the bus, or you read them sneaky in class, and that's what comics are all about. So I don't want to get too hoity-toity. I mean, sure, it's a craft, it's an art. But it's also a disposable product, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm all for floppies. I think floppies are sort of the main backbone of comics. And that said,
I was going to say, let me ask you a question, Brahovic. Were you expecting the book Off-Worlder to be as heavy as it was?
Well, no, I didn't expect it. I always expect from a first issue to at least have a solid introduction to the world.
No, I mean the stock, the paper stock. Were you surprised how heavy the stock was? The cover, how thick and rigid the cover was. The
cover. Yeah.
Paper quality. I think Lee's talking about the paper quality. So for the physical appearance of the book, I think from what I've seen, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's basically a floppy that's a graphic novel. It's all graphic novel stock.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, it's your standard. Well, this issue is 25 pages, 32 with everything else. And but it's graphic novel, 80-pound, 100-pound stock cover. I think it's 80-pound interior. I mean, this is a heavy book.
Heavy metal.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm more of a digital backer, so.
Oh, that's right. You didn't get the physical copy. I forgot. That's right.
Yeah. Digital.
Okay. Well, was the PDF file heavy?
Yeah, how heavy was that file, man? I'd like to know. Can you give me a grams on that?
Did your laptop start smoking when you opened it?
Almost. No. My iPhone is stronger than my laptop, so
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Well, talking about graphic novels, the idea is also for Napalm Brothers 3 campaign that I'm gonna do a couple of proof prints of the issue 1, 2, and 3 in an omnibus with some extra material. Yeah, we can add that as sort of a special tier. I will also send out a couple of these omnibuses to certain people who were big fans of the arc over the last 2 years, and that's out of my own pocket. So I just thought I'd give something back to people who really supported the Napalm Brothers through all the insanity that has been going on. And well, maybe we can actually add that as an official tier, but we'll just see. We'll see how that develops. This is my plan. So basically, firstly we do the floppy, and we do the reprints with variant covers of issue 1 and 2. We're gonna have some really nice some tiers with some perks. Is there a way you can show like a little glimpse of what we might possibly offer as a perk on these books? Something that you showed us just before the stream, Lee.
Sure. Before we do that, why don't you guys go ahead and talk and give me one quick second.
All right. Well, I kind of missed my cue with this clip, but here we go.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Now we just have to wait until he gets the merchandise. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what happened with the JDA situation. I was perfectly fine with JDA to stream with Ethan and all that, but he's actually planning to do some work with him, and he's been a constant sort of causer of static for my Napalm Brothers project. So I told JDA, I said, listen, man, if you want to work with him, he kind of you need to address this, maybe in a way that the Van Skyver apologizes to me. Not that I really care about Van Skyver's opinion, but how would it look if I would say nothing? You know what I mean? After he's been such a douchebag, not only to me, but also to JDA himself, who's gone from a complete Van Skyver antagonist to sort of a Van Skyver apologist in a matter of just a couple of weeks. I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? And sort of these half-truths and these narratives are being spun. Grohovak was nice enough to sort of address this during a stream. I think it was the Trash Compactor show that was on Grove. And just not truthful. I've been pretty much open, not only to let's say my supporters, but just in general. I've been pretty open on how that situation developed. So then I just said, okay, well, sorry, but I can't work with you anymore, John. And it was just disappointing. It was disappointing because it was another instant where he just said, okay, then we're not going to be talking anymore. And it's just, it boggles the mind, the lack of loyalty that sometimes happens in this community. You know what I mean? So, it's just, it's strange. It's a strange thing. What do you guys think about that?
I really, in all honesty, I'm so far out of the loop. I have no idea what happened between you and JD other than what you've told me. Having said that, I know that JDA can be a bit prickly. So I know he and I have had our fair share of, we had one big blowout and he asked me not to buy his stuff anymore. So, okay, well done. And that's JDA. Yeah. So, okay. And at the end of the day, I don't, my thing is, okay, I'll give you a good example. I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. All right. I have been I've been collecting comics since about 1973.
Geezer.
Yeah. Can you see the gray? That's kids and grandkids. So, they do this. This is what happens, man. This right here. So anyway, plus all my hair's gone. So, but I have been slowly getting every single copy of the Fantastic Four. For the first time in my life, I stopped buying the Fantastic Four, and I've suffered through everybody, you know. And Dan Slott killed it for me, just flat out killed it for me.
Yeah.
And you know, and if that's, you know, and I've been collecting his work. I didn't collect the Spider-Man because that was crap, but it was a Fantastic Four, man. I mean, I have to buy the Fantastic Four, and now it's like, no, and the sad part is, I don't miss it, and it pisses me off. I mean, the FF was my first fave. I mean, that was my book, and it to this day, the Fantastic
first
Four,
family.
like everything, huh? Yeah, and
The
it's the
first
first
family.
family. Yeah, the first family of comics, but it was my first favorite book. I mean, I was a big team book buyer because, I don't know, call me stingy, but I just thought, wow, I'm getting more superheroes for 25 cents. I'll buy a team book, you know? So I wasn't big on, I bought Marvel Team Up, but when it was with Spider-Man, before I bought Spider-Man, because there were more characters in it. So that was my thing.
I
So,
just
yeah,
want to say the first Fantastic Four movie that came out with the rubber suits, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was campy as hell, but I mean, kids were watching the Power Rangers and all that. So compared to other stuff that came out, I thought it was pretty solid. And the main thing is, sure, it had its faults, but it stayed really close to
Yeah.
the lore of the comics, and I thought that was
Yeah.
you know, A for effort, so to speak.
yeah.
I even
Well-
own the movie tie-in game.
Oh, you really? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, do you remember the Captain America show from, like, what was it,
70s, yeah.
77,
When he
79?
was riding around on his bike and stuff, right?
Yeah, on the
the TV
motorcycle,
movie.
and he had the transparent
Yeah, yeah.
shield so he could see through it.
Yeah, but that was
Oh.
very futuristic because you know it's very expensive to get it like a plastic shield like that. And even now, you know, I mean
Yeah.
the PVC, it's
In
pretty.
the motorcycle helmet instead of
Yeah.
instead of his, you know, his mask and stuff. Oh, but you know, I watched that show religiously as a kid because
That was
it
great.
was all we had.
Yeah, it was great. Wonder Woman was great. Spider-Man was great. Turkish Spider-Man was awesome. Did you guys watch a little bit of the clip that I posted of the Turkish Spider-Man? I think it was the whole movie.
That I saw that one. It was on Crunchyroll once. I saw that on
Okay.
Crunchyroll, and I was like, "What the heck is this? Holy crap!"
Yeah.
And then, have you seen the live-action Japanese Spider-Man with the giant robot?
I think I've seen clips of that come by. That looks pretty decent.
It's stupid, and it's Power Rangers on steroids, man. It's just
Okay.
stupid. I mean, it's just stupid, but it's funny as all
Well,
hell. Because if
Aren't the Japanese
Spider-Man-
currently sort of mangifying existing Marvel characters? Because I think there's a animated Wolverine movie.
Yep.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
What do you
yeah.
guys think about that? Are they any good?
I only watched the Punisher Black Widow anime.
Ah, okay. That sounds good actually.
I haven't seen that one.
Well, I watched the English dub. It's somewhat decent. The story is solid for a Japanese production.
Yeah.
The first scene where Punisher takes out criminals is beautifully made.
Okay.
So the art looks really good, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said before. I mean, the Japanese art-wise, they're really, really killing it. You know, in fact,
Oh, yeah.
they're kicking so much ass that I think we should nuke them again.
Well, you know,
I'll
manga has
take-
come. You know, or I shouldn't say manga, but anime. I mean, manga is pretty much still the same as it's always been, but anime has evolved so far now. I can't get. You know, I remember. You know, I'm a big Yamato fan, and so I grew up watching Star Blazers, and I see Yamato 2199, and it's amazing how fantastic the anime is. And that movie or that series is what, 4 years old now, so it's awesome. And they're getting ready to come out with the third season, so I can't wait.
I'm relatively new to the whole manga anime thing because before I just had, let's say, cultural differences. The cultural differences were pretty big story-wise for me, because there's all these references also in story structure that are just different from what we're doing in the West. I mean, basically, yeah. And if you're not sort of how do you call that, sort of a little bit read into the genre, it might be sort of daunting. I mean, where are you going to start? There's so many mangas and animes out there, So, but yeah, recently I've been starting to watch some stuff, and of course on Netflix they're showing a lot of animes now. So yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's very positive. At least kids are buying books, I mean,
Yeah.
so what if they're replacing Marvel and DC? If kids wanna buy manga books and watch these movies, I think that's a really good development. But also
Yeah.
on that note, I don't know if you guys have that in your region, but Netflix has introduced a shuffle button. So you put it on shuffle, and then you don't know what you're going to watch. They're going to pick it for you. And I'm thinking, how fucking brain dead do they think that we are, that we can't even pick our own fucking movies that we're going to watch? You know what I mean? What do you guys think about that? Is that like the ultimate in stupid to sort of add like a mystery button in it? They're just
Yeah.
going to play whatever garbage that they have on hand.
The J.J.
Really-
Abrams technique.
The J.J. Abrams technique, that's right, yeah. The process is more important than the end result. Yeah, that's right.
I like what KFC Jesus said in the chat. He made a good point.
Oh, what? Is KFC in the chat?
Yes, because we are live. You didn't. You went live.
I went.
See?
I thought I
Boomer.
scheduled. Yeah, I boomered it.
Boomer, right there. Boomer, or over.
Oh, that's
There.
terrible. Okay, let me just say hi to. Oh damn! I messed it up.
It's okay.
Well, I can stop the stream and then you'll air it later. We can do it. No, okay. Well, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
all
This
good.
is weird because it said when I started this whole thing, it said schedule for later. So I put it at around 8 p.m. Central Time. At least I thought. But then I guess I didn't see a record button, so I just pushed the go live button, and I guess that's where I went wrong. But anyway, you win some, you lose some.
It's okay. I mean, we'll put your blanket on you a little later and sit you out in the window. It'll be fine.
Hey, listen, I did my best. We've had this really great graphic banner underneath. We had at least 3 video clips that were integrated. So, content-wise, I think we're pretty solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so you asked me to show you, because I'm going to first apologize to the chat. I've been doing yard work. It's very beautiful here in Iowa today. We have no wind, which is very rare because it's windy as hell. In the plains, it's always windy. So there's very little wind. It's like 60 degrees, 65 degrees. And so I'm doing yard work, getting ready to put my garden in. And so you're seeing me in my garden clothes. So, but you asked to see a few things. So let me show you some ideas.
Next time, you better wear a tie when I invite you on, Lee, because this
Hey.
just won't stand,
Hey, this right here, this is tie enough right here.
Yeah.
Check that out. That
That's
is
good.
tie enough.
This
Right
the
there,
Hillary.
baby.
The Hillary wants your guns. She's never
Yes.
getting my guns. It's just not gonna happen.
So, and just so you know, we just got all redneck up in here. So
All right.
whenever you have me around, it's all redneck.
Good stuff.
So anyway,
Grohovec and I are spiritual rednecks. I just want to say that.
well, we'll test y'all later. But I'm a believer in precious metals, like gold, silver, lead, brass, copper. So Napalm Brothers, they do too. So this is kind of an idea. This is a keychain, bottle opener, bullet. So we're experimenting with some ideas, and this might be something that we have as a perk.
It's gonna have
And
the logo
please.
on it. It's gonna have
Yes.
the Napalm, and probably I'm gonna adapt the logo a little bit so it'll be monotone, because I think that's easier to adapt to that material.
Yeah. And then we have this black version of the same bullet. It's a keychain. Just something, something we can throw out there to the backers. And please, by all means, if you guys are interested in any of this, just say so in the chat so we can come back, take a look at this, and get your guys' input, because this is for you guys.
Well, I was thinking we might run sort of a Twitter poll and give a couple of options. I think the bottle openers are really cool. Of course, maybe a trucker cap, trucker mesh hat, and maybe some sort of motivational patch, because I think, what's better than to go to the range for a nice day of shooting with your Napalm Brothers patch on your rifle bag or something. I think that would be truly awesome. You know what I mean? But on that note, I am currently working on a couple of new T-shirt designs for Lee to sell already. So I think it's 2 designs we agreed upon, and you guys can get that even before the campaign starts. So I'll just drop links on Twitter when all that's done and settled.
Yeah, and so we'll definitely throw those on our Etsy store as well. Also, here's a gel ink pen. Now, if you'll notice,
it's got the
is a rifle, and it's bolt action. I mean, you really can't. It's a bolt action pen, so very nice, and it's again a bullet. And this one I saved the best for last because I really dig this one. This is my favorite. It's BMG 30 OD green.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That would look so good with the black Napalm logo on the side. That would look awesome. And you know what? It's big as hell, but so are the characters in this book. And it's beer related and it's gun related. You can't get any better than that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's to me, that's like the ultimate perk for a certain tier of the campaign. You know, good stuff, man.
Also, we're waiting for the cozy to show up, but they sent it separate. They're running behind in production.
What's that, like sort of a beer sleeve that keeps the beers cool, or what's that? Yeah, but everybody knows that real men drink their beer warm, so.
Well, see, not only am I a hillbilly, but I'm also German, so I fully understand that point very well.
Well, actually, aren't most of the American brewers were actually started by German descendants, like Pabst and Schlitz? They were all Germans, and I think this was the Prohibition era. I just saw a documentary about this, that there was devastating amongst these German families, and they were actually some of the first to start the illegal alcohol trade. Which is cool. Yeah, go love it.
I had a buddy who used to work for Budweiser, and he used to tell me all the time. He said, this was the only job that I ever had, that I could be drunk by 11 o'clock in the morning and still get paid all day long.
Salutations. He's living the dream, turning his hobby into his work.
So yeah, he said, I'm so happy. I've been here for 30 years and I'm never leaving.
But Budweiser, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Budweiser is German in origin, isn't it? I think it's like Polish or something. No, it's German?
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's
my
not.
mistake.
I don't think it is. But I know like I said, he worked for Budweiser, and he thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And every weekend they'd give you like 2 or 3 cases of beer to take home.
Oh God! What's your favorite beer, Grovek?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I don't drink beer.
You don't drink beer? Okay, I'm going to exit you from the stream right now. Everybody say goodbye to Grovek. No. What do you drink? Do you have any sorts of poisons or vices that you adhere to?
Well, only one. We call it bamboo, which is a combination of Coca-Cola and red wine.
That truly kind of sounds disgusting.
No, it's actually good.
But isn't that like what they call Snow White, like white wine and 7-Up? Or wine spritzer. They call that wine spritzers, don't they?
Actually, bamboo is really great for your indigestion and your blood work.
Well,
It pumps, keeps your blood pumping. Real
regular
good.
dose, unit of alcohol is always good for the circulatory system. So
Yeah.
that can be wrong. I say, guys, I wanted to ask you one thing that I'm really interested in because we've been talking about these comics, and I know, of course, Grovak's a big fan of all these projects, these indie
Mhm.
projects, and Lee's also a huge fan of comics. That's what it all started with. So, what are you guys reading currently? What are you reading? What's your top thing? Any recommendations?
Hmm. Well, a Common America. I really am enjoying Common America. I think she's awesome. I think it's a great idea and a great concept. I'm also I like Mike Miller's Lone Star. I've been reading it. It's not bad. I wouldn't call it my top three, but it's in my top 10 that I read.
Mm.
I will all yeah, like I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm with you, Hovik. I mean, I'm just saying. But
Mike needs to get a haircut, firstly.
yeah, Mike cut that shit off. But let me hang it on my door.
Yeah,
But
stroke it for good luck.
every now and then, but I will say right now, I've been going back and reading a lot of the older stuff. Right now, I just finished reading the Squadron Supreme 12-issue miniseries. And if you are new to comics, because I've got another channel that I'm going to start putting some stuff on, and it's just for beginner comic readers. It's called Fandom Bits and Pieces, and we're going to talk about comics and what if you're going to start buying comics, what you should read, because there are some really good stories that have been overlooked, and
For sure.
Squadron Supreme is one of those.
I'm going to invite myself on. So hereby, I invite myself on to that show.
Okay, fantastic. Would love to have you. But it's basically what would happen if superheroes actually just took over the world. And it really, it's funny because Mark Grunwald, who wrote it, he was the continuity editor over at Marvel, and also was the de facto Marvel historian. And Mark took a interesting concept and gave us a great 12-issue story arc that delved into how things could go bad, all for the right reasons. Hell is paved with good intentions, the road to hell. So we've got that story, and then you parallel that story with today, and holy crap, he could have wrote that today, and it would be today. It's amazing. I was looking at that going, wow, there's so many parallels to this book that was written in the 80s to today. It's insane.
I was just saying hello to KFC on the chat. I still can't believe that we're doing this live. KFC is another guy that's been a massive supporter of the Napalm Brothers online. Unfortunately, his account was nuked from Twitter, and this was done not by command of Preston, because I talked to Preston about this, but it was some people in this influence sphere of Preston probably did this, and that was just weak. That's weak stuff, because that's exactly the sort of thing that we were all sort of fighting against, that sort of stuff happening. Can't say that mentally it's that's just not acceptable, that kind of stuff. But anyway, on a side note, Grovak, what are you reading?
I actually read an very interesting crowdfunding book. It's called Warbound.
What's that? Warbound? Warbound?
Yes, Warbound.
Okay.
So the story is basically an immortal African warrior is in an insane asylum, and for the last 5.5 centuries, he's been searching for a sorcerer who did something traumatic to him. and the superheroes of that universe think of him as crazy because he's very ruthless towards the enemy.
Do you
For
know who the
infer-
writers are and the writer and the artist of his book?
Oh,
Or
fuck,
yeah,
I forgot.
don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe we can drop a link later after.
No. The
editing.
campaign was over. It was a Kickstarter campaign.
Ah, it was a Kickstarter. Okay.
It was Kickstarter campaign, but for a first issue and for a black character, it was a solid introduction. I like the concept of him being this magnificent being that every soldier fears.
Okay, well that does sound kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's amazing to see how many ways you can go with the all superhero theme. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I'm not really doing that exactly within my comic book work, but I do appreciate all of the lores, and I also appreciate all of the new stuff that's come out. You know, and this definitely sounds interesting. You know? Just like
No.
what's that?
Oh yeah, and to compliment Lee over here, I started reading Fantastic Four from the beginning just to see how Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did it. I stopped at issue 36, I believe, and haven't got to it since because I really want to see how the story of this team progresses on. And I really do appreciate how, except for a couple of issues, the communist villains, I hate them. No, the problem I think with Stan, because when he did the issues with the Soviet Union supervillains, he tried to make them like the 40s, but when I read them, it just doesn't work. So let's say when you read Captain America when he fights the Red Skull in World War II, it doesn't have that same effect.
And it's because it's period. It's very period dated, and that's the problem.
I mean, yeah, and that's kind of the thing I don't. That's the one thing I don't like about Stan Lee is you get, let's say, 5 issues of these incredible science fiction-esque stories, but then issue 6, oh wait, this is the early 60s. Here's a lame Soviet Union villain.
Well, it was a sort of a current topic in those days because the Cold War was still going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know how far.
Listen, I like the period piece, but I don't like the fact. Okay, when I have to be reminded, Russians, but I have to compliment the first issue of Fantastic Four because it works perfectly as one of those 50-minute TV episodes from that era.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it gets even. I would say the first 30 issues are really where Stan's just trying to get his footing.
Yeah.
And he really had I think he had an idea where he wanted to go with this, but I think it was the wrong direction. And you'll notice by the time they get to like issue 43, I think, the book starts taking a very different direction. And I think that's where Jack really started having more influence in the storylines. And we got Galactus, we had Silver Surfer, we had Ronin. I mean, everything starts to really change dynamically with that book. And by the time you get to issue 100, the Fantastic Four really are this cosmic super family. It gets really great around 52, 53. It really starts taking off.
Yeah, I want to say I stopped at issue 36. And somewhere around after issue 30, an annual number 2, it really shows
Mhm.
that it kind of went up. It goes up,
Mhm. Yeah.
and also because in those issues you can see how Kirby changed how he drew Sue Storm.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah,
wasn't
'cause-
all that. It wasn't the poof. You know, it's more long hair up to here. You know, and it really looks. She looked quite feminine when he started drawing her like that.
Hey Grovak, when you read these back issues, do you read them digital or you try to get like, how do you do it? You
No,
try to get physical?
okay. I'll piss a lot of people off. There's a website called
Okay.
Read Comic Online,
Okay.
and that's where I go. And that's where I go to read the
Is
old
that like
stuff.
a signing comicsology kind of stuff? You have to create an account?
No,
or...
no. It's all free. It's free.
Okay.
Free website. You can go there, readcomiconline.to. They have all the classics there.
Well, I'm kind of in dubio regarding that whole thing because I do think, that especially these older books, they need to be read. And a lot of these really old books, I just can't get them, or they're really expensive,
Yeah.
or they've
Yeah.
been
Actually,
destroyed.
I also for that website, I sometimes dabble into the really old school. You know, I go back to the beginning. You know,
Yeah.
1938, 39. I've read the original Detective Comics run with Batman.
Okay. How are
And
those?
I started reading the early Jerry Siegel Superman stuff.
Yeah, mind blowing.
Mind blowing. There's actually one scene in the I think it's one of the early issues of the Solo book where Superman in his Clark Kent persona is in a town which is run by gangsters.
Okay.
And one of the gags of Jerry Siegel's early stuff is he pinches Lois Lane here, you know, like a nerve pinch, and she passes out, so he can do some Superman stuff. And so he pinches her because he saw gangsters following them. So he pinches Lois. Okay, go to sleep. Then he looks at the gangster car. Sorry, wait. Fuck. He waits for the gangster car to line up with their car, and he kicks the door of his car so hard, the gangster car flips flips over the bridge.
What? Okay.
Crazy shit. Crazy shit. I loved it. That kind of shit.
Well,
And
that's
I
what I
wish
mean.
that
Yeah.
the modern industry took at least a tiny fraction of that craziness and put
Yeah.
them in their books.
Well, that's what we need. We need to put all this stuff back, like the really sort of spontaneous stuff, I think, and that's why all of these old comics really need to be read. This is my point.
Yeah, and
You know what that means, huh? I set
Yeah,
my
let's get
my
the hell
cooking
out of
clock.
here.
Yeah.
I set my cooking clock because streaming longer than an hour, that's for assholes, and we don't do that on this channel.
yeah,
So,
big no. What you see is what you get.
hey guys, listen, I want to thank you for joining me on this, sort of momentous
Steve
occasion,
Goulash.
because it's sort of a new start for the Napalm Brothers. I'm really stoked to be working with Lee. I'm really stoked to be involved with people like Grovac and KFC Jesus, who are genuine people of taste and of more support. So on that note, I want to say to everybody, just stay tuned for further developments regarding the campaign. I'm going to be buckling down and starting work in earnest on the final final book of this arc. And that's it. Do you guys want to say some final words before I end the broadcast?
Lee, do you want to go first?
No, by all means, brother, go first. I bow to the Hobbit.
Always check your Indiegogo for new and interesting campaigns. Also, Kickstarter. Don't listen to those guys who always say Kickstarter is bullshit. Kickstarter is a great site where you can find excellent campaigns, and I will highlight one that is active. It is a new manuscript of Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy.
I saw that come by. Yeah, I saw that come by. It's doing very well, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm boosting the living shit out of it. Yeah, and I also backed the PDF, the digital
anyone
tier.
starting with comic books, they should really check out Grohovac's Twitter account, because he shares the most amazing links, stuff that it's hard to keep track of all the new stuff, and Grohovac does that. Yeah, so hats off to you, man.
I try. Sometimes I try. Yeah.
Lee, any final words before we call in the firing squad?
Oh Lord, getting dangerous over here. KFC Jesus, you're cracking me up. I like the Borscht. What was it? Borscht Boys. That's good. But I want to say that look for the end of the month. We're going to be launching Offworlder on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. For those of you who did not back because you don't back a book that's not finished, we're going to be putting it back up. The book is finished, ready to go. All you got to do is buy it. Bada boom, bada bing, we'll ship it to you. We're going to run that campaign. Yep.
Read good comic books, damn it. Don't read garbage. Don't get tricked by the grifters. Yep,
and keep an eye out because we're going to be also, not only are we going to be doing Napalm Brothers, but there'll be a book coming out written by me. I'm not going to say who the artist is at this time. I've shared a little bit with the Hovic and with Sixth, my Sentinels, the Sentinels of Aegis. Yes. This is my 80s montage of characters that I think would have been great in the 80s, but they'll work today.
Darn tooting.
And they're not, I wouldn't call them like unique because there really are no longer any unique characters. But I think you're going to find that they're not these two-dimensional plastic characters that you're used to reading. These are going to be characters that have heart, soul, and they come across as genuine. Ultraman is a great character. I love this guy. You're going to love Gollum. He's a jerk and a half, but he's been great. You're going to love Blaze. She's the glue that holds this team together, and the team leader. You guys are going to love these characters. They're going to be a lot of fun.
See, that's what the most important thing is. The people who make these books, you should actually care about the characters, because if we don't care about them, how is the reader going to care about them? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Same thing for me with Napalm Brothers. I'm very emotionally invested in these characters, and that's what makes it work, and that's what stands out. So that's good final words, I think, guys. I'm going to end the broadcast here. I want to thank KC for his ongoing more support and for being in the chat. And next time we'll actually put up a notice when we're doing this. Sorry, guys. Peace out.